Hi, David Werst here with RealTexasBlog.com. As you can see, we're here at the second annual Texas Monthly Barbecue Festival, and we're here to see if it's everything it's supposed to be. We want to make sure it's real Texas barbecue, and we know it will be, because some of the best barbecuers, purveyors in Texas have all gathered here in one spot, and we're going to try to taste every single bite we can. So welcome to Real Texas Blog's Barbecue Edition. Let's go inside and let's see what it all tastes like.
Hey, I'm Jake Silverstein, editor of Texas Monthly, and I want to welcome RealTexasBlog.com to the Texas Monthly Barbecue Festival 2011.
Thank you so much, and this has been a fabulous event. Not only entertainment, but the barbecue. It was delicious. It was so well worth it. And you know, you just sit here, you eat, and it's excellent. We'll be back next year.
Good.
The whole reason that we're here is because we love barbecue, right? And the whole reason that barbecue is so good and the barbecue that we're eating today is so good is because of the collective wisdom of these folks at all these booths out here who are smoking meat for us. They are the heroes and the real true stars of this event. So let's give all of them a round of applause. Now, last year we also did a People's Choice Awards, and we had we had four winners last year, and they're up here on the stage with me right now. We had Buzzy Hughes right here to my right. He was tied for best brisket last year.
Thank y'all very much.
Now we had Cousins, which is back there over there. Now they were tied for both best beef ribs and best sausage, and they're represented today by Mark Payne over here to my left. And then last year, another tie for best brisket was Snow's Barbecue, represented by Tootsie Tominance here on the far left. The great Tootsie Tominance. And then for pork ribs, we had Stanley's Barbecue over there. Mr. Nick Pence's over here on my right. Nick has risked life and limb to bring you his barbecue today. Got a nasty burn on his right forearm a bit earlier.
I'm a professional. Don't try this at home.
So what I thought we would do is, I know all of you like me are curious to know how it is that, these folks make such good barbecue. And so we're going to talk a little bit, guys, about what y'all do and kind of what your approach is, and maybe hear some of you have different approaches. And Nick, let's start with you, all right?
I have no idea what I'm doing.
You have no idea what you're doing, all right, well. Now, what kind of wood do y'all use?
We are pecan guys.
Pecan, 100%?
100%.
And why is that?
Stanley sits in a pecan grove.
That makes sense.
But, I mean, if we cut down all the trees, then we wouldn't anymore. But, no, I mean, East Texas, I think in general, is very different than our brothers down here in Central Texas.
Sure.
Whether it be wood and just styles, temperatures, sauce or no sauce, the great debate. Most of the guys down here are all oak guys.
Right.
And East Texas is hickory predominantly. And I really just, in the history of Stanley's has been around for 50 years. And J.D. Stanley actually was a hickory guy. But I just took it upon myself because I really like pecan. I said, I'm going to cook with pecan, man. And who's going to stop me?
And no one has. All right. Well, you mentioned oak. Now, Tootsie, y'all are using oak over there at Snow's, right?
Yes, sir. We use all oak. Dry oak. It has to be dry. And when I started back in '66 cooking at City Meat Market in Giddings, Texas, we used oak then. And as far as I was concerned, that was the only kind of wood that we would ever use. So we still use oak.
And you like that flavor?
I like the flavor. Of course, I shouldn't say this, but I don't really go anywhere to any other towns or barbecue places to eat barbecue. I just love my barbecue and I eat it. It's all over.
All right, so we have a pecan over here on the far right, then we have some oak over here on the left. How about you guys? What do you guys do?
We use
Green hickory.
So it's fresh cut. We've used that since day one in 1983, and we're not changing. We get all of our hickory from eastern Oklahoma, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Oklahoma hickory. Uh-oh, now hold on.
Sorry. That's where it comes from.
Yeah! Uh-oh, things are taking a turn for the worse up here at the Pitmaster House.
All you people need to understand, we travel all over. And I mean, we cook barbecue everywhere to satisfy everybody in this audience taste buds.
Here.
Here it is.
Yeah.
You know, pecan, mesquite, oak.
Are y'all mesquite people? No, what do you use?
No, sir.
What do y'all use?
I'm with Miss Snow over there. We use a little oak. It just depends on where you're at. You know, I mean.
Right, there's not a lot of oak trees where we are. There's a bunch down here.
You know, hey, when you're a poor boy, you use what you can.
Well, Buzzy, let me ask you a question. Where did you learn your craft?
Actually, as a young man, we used to shear a lot of sheep and goats out in the country, and we'd build a fire and everything. We'd cook hamburgers and steaks like that, and I still have my mother's wood-burning stove, and I like to cook beans and bread and stuff in there.
Now let me kick that question about where you learned your craft. Let me kick that back over to you, Tootsie. You were smoking at City Meat Market in Giddings, Texas for many years. Where did you first learn your skills?
I worked with a black man at City Market, and I just picked up his trades. I watched how he did it. And when we bought our own meat market in 1976 in Lexington, I said, this is my chance to practice my own skills that I have watched this man do, and I followed that procedure, and I'm still learning. Even though I've been barbecuing for 45 plus years, I'm still learning, because there's always something new out in the world that'll teach us something, or we can teach someone.
Well, Nick, let me kick it over to you. You raised a question earlier, the sauce versus no sauce, great debate. Tell me where you come down on that.
I think it's regional, and it's just a personal preference. You know, I mean, East Texas seems to be more saucy than everywhere else.
Saucy?
Yeah, we're saucy. And again, I think it's just kind of what you grow up with, what you're used to. I don't think there's anything right or wrong. I'm not a kind of guy, I don't like a lot of sauce, but a lot of people who come and eat at our place, they do. So I'm going to give it to them. And I think we at least have a good sauce. I've had some really horrible sauces. I think with anything, it's supposed to complement, not cover up. And I think a lot of people have that backwards. They're unsure of what they're putting out, and so they're trying to conceal it with some red stuff. And
let me ask you another question then about a cooking technique. Are you kind of a slow and low, or a high and fast kind of operation?
Depends on the cut you're working with. You know, some things are fast, some things are slow, and some days I get bored and I say, well, let's try it this way today, and just trying to have fun. And I mean, every day's different anyway. You can't do the same thing the exact same way every day and ever get the same result ever. Every single time is different.
Is that the hardest thing about what y'all do? That consistency, when you have so many different factors at work, whether it's the wood or whether it's the weather, is the hardest thing about what y'all do just the consistency?
Yes, it is.
The most consistent thing about barbecue is that it's inconsistent.
Your humidity and dew point have a lot to do with the way the wood burns, the way it smokes, the way it cooks.
You said the humidity?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I have been cooking right in the middle of an hour. The weather will completely change, the humidity changed, the dew point changed, boom, my flour went out.
So we ought to maybe turn to y'all for the weather reports in your communities rather than the local news.
We could do that good.
Yeah. Now, what about outside of Texas? Because you mentioned cooking barbecue for folks, all around the country and other states and everything. I mean, when you go other places, how do you think other barbecue traditions compare to what we have here in Texas?
I'll tell you what, it's a scary thought, because when you pull up to a place, especially like here, and everybody's got all these barbecue pits and stuff like that, everybody, and the first thing you do is step out the back of your trailer and go, oh my God. What am I going to do?
Let's take a little poll. Tootsie, what time do you start smoking in the morning?
Actually, our briskets go on about 11:30 Friday night.
Okay.
So it's long and slow.
And how about y'all?
We usually start ours about 9. Ours go 20 to 24 hours. So
24 hours.
So we start them the day ahead and pull them the next day.
How about you guys, Nick?
Mine's about 16 to 18 hours, depending on the size of the brisket.
Let me ask you about that rib, Nick. Let me ask you about y'all's rib. So, what are the non-secret ingredients in that rub that you can tell us?
Ain't gonna lie to you.
Non-secret ingredients?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's a basic kind of Memphis dry rub, which is sugar, salt, pepper, garlic, paprika. No. And then we make it a Texas thing by adding Texas stuff. Cumin, I think that's probably the most prevalent thing when you take one of our ribs. You're like, I mean, that's the first kind of bite you get. A couple of leafy herbs. Basil. Settle down, everybody. I mean, there's not anything crazy. I think most rubs all consist of kind of the same stuff. You just vary how much of your preferences of, sweeter or spicier or something.
Yeah. Well, just one more question for y'all. I know a lot of folks out here, do a little armchair smoking in their backyards. And do any of y'all have any tips for the amateur at-home smoker, for the person in their backyard trying to get that brisket just right? And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Consistent temperature.
Consistent temperature. Okay.
Keep your heart in it.
Keep your heart in it.
Amen.
Amen.
Be patient. Have fun. Don't rush it.
You'll burn a lot. It won't come out ready, but you just stay with it, man. It's consistent.
All right, well, listen, thank you all very much. Let's have a round of applause for these guys. When you put on a barbecue festival, you have to have certain obvious things, right? You have to have brisket, you have to have sausage, you have to have ribs, you have to have the quintessential elements, right? Well, there's a certain quintessential musical element that came to mind when we were putting this together, and that's the gentleman that I'm about to introduce to you. The founder and frontman of Asleep at the Wheel, winner of 9 Grammy Awards over a very long and distinguished career, a very tall individual, an individual that all of you know and love. Please help me welcome Ray Benson and friends.
I saw miles and miles of Texas, all the stars up in the sky. I saw miles and miles of Texas, gonna live